I'll just
Good evening.
hand over to Anil, our president, to
Yeah.
please start the session. So over to you, President Flion, MJ Flion Anil Mandrupkarji.
Thanks, Rameshji. Good evening to all. First of all, I would like to welcome all of you. Being working days, so almost 15 members are available. And first of all, on behalf of Lions Club of Pune Eco Friends, I welcome all the audience. So in just 1 minute, I just would like to update about the Lions Club Eco Friend. Uh, Lions Club Eco Friend started in the 2006, and we are now completing 20 years. And in these 20 years, more than 1,500 activity we have done. And Lions Club of Pune Eco Friend is the only club. So in the world, out of 45,000 clubs of Lions, who totally dedicated to the environment only. Our 80% activity are related to the 3R. That you know that reduce the use and recycle. And so I will not much time on the information. And I would request, I will introduce our guest speaker, Honorable Ashish Ji Vaishnav. So Ashish Vaishnav is a social and the environment entrepreneur. He is a mechanical engineer from WIT Sangli, and he served Thermax for 31 years. And so apart from his engineering background, he has taken the management training at Hyderabad and also at a very renowned management institute. It is a ISB. In he was the corporate marketing aide in the Thermax, and he is the expertise in the line and as maybe LG 2019. He has turned to the social entrepreneur. He studies own startup creativity, and he is so helping many key organizations to provide environment solutions in the urban goods. Second, we did even plant at Khadki, which is the Khadki cattle boom. The garden of the key area. We sell the I think it was or the percentage we will get, but the most of that in environment he reselling and produce the pallets. Okay, and he's a very innovative and the management at source. It is a it is different distribution. He on that, and I'm sure और this the weighted bar contributing towards that we should to him, and what the main objective of today's session is that waste to wealth. So that's it. I'm asking him to launch that, and I would request all the audience to listen first. Whatever your questions are there, so at the end of the conversation, you can ask question. And it is now over to Ashish ji. धन्यवाद.
Oh, thank you very much for a very kind introduction to me. I have a very short CV, like you said, 31 years with Thermax, and because of that, I became an energy person. And we looked at energy and also the waste energy very differently. And that is what prompted me to, during my later parts of my career, get into solid waste management. So thank you so much, and I really appreciate the team who visited our Khadki plant, and this has led to a larger audience wanting to know more about this. So it is my pleasure and an honor to have been given this opportunity, and I look forward to taking you through a brief presentation which I've made, which I will share on the screen and take you through that. So maybe it could be for about 30-35 minutes, and then we could have 10-15 minutes of question answers, because it's very important that I'm able to understand what questions you would have, which in my best ability I will try to answer, because this field of waste is been a mystery for most, although it is all around us. So thank you so much again, and Anilji and Rameshji. I'll just share my screen, and then I will take you through. Thank you so much. Please let me know if you are able to see the screen now.
Yes.
We can see on the screen.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Clear.
So, well, I have started, from the time I spent, I also used to be very much talking about waste to wealth, waste to worth, gold, all that. But I personally feel that first let us respect the word waste in the sense that why it is called waste at all. So what we have tried to use it, that we are trying to through the solution which we have tried to develop, is unlocking the real energy value of MSW through a decentralized approach. So I have funneled it down to certain part of the waste, which is our biggest problem. And also, I would like to underline that it was not only trying to give a solution for the waste, but coupled with it, understanding the way the waste gets handled, we feel a decentralized approach should be also very much be integral to the solution which we are doing. So through the next few slides, I will try to take. So thank you very much, Lions Club Eco-Friend Group Pune. And we all know whenever you use the word mountain, so we have a mountain of a problem. So many cities earlier, before this high rises started coming, the tallest, we have been always used to seeing buildings coming up, better townships, and Pune, I think, is the best example. All of you have been here in Pune for a long, long time. So Pune never used to have more than 3 or 4 story buildings. And then 25 years ago, you had 11-story buildings, and now there are 40, 50 story buildings also coming up. But while these things are coming around, what is happening is the people who are staying in these buildings and houses are also generating even more waste. And so the mountain is also keeping pace and getting taller by the day. So this is what is happening all around us. And some of you who would be going past Hadapsar, or you'd possibly notice it more. And I think it happens across Indian cities. So just to give you an idea on what is the quantum of waste India has. So India generates almost Now, unfortunately, this is a surprising aspect that in today's digital age and all this MSW, there is no credible data which I have found beyond this, which is being given, and that's supposed to be a data of 21. So we are now in 26, 5 years later. I still don't know because I attend many forums, but still the figure is 160,000, 160,000, which is 1.6 lakhs every day. Tons. So, well, we have been focusing on structures, landscape, amenities, all this. But our focus on waste management over the period has been limited to the liquid part. Now STPs have become most. And everyone is very happy with or rather trying to put collection and transport of solid waste. You will see a lot of vehicles moving around and people trying to give it to a third party who takes it away somewhere. So we all feel very nice about it. But in real sense, we have not been able to do something on the processing and disposal of the solid waste. And that's why it moves from your houses or societies, it ends up somewhere because there is no processing and disposal. So it is not it has not been tied up. So this is the big challenge which today we have, and I hope you all agree to it. So, well, taking a slide from the Swachh Bharat mission again, which has been, talked about since 2014. The components of MSW and what are the different types of waste and where they end up. So very clearly at the top of MSW, the word which is told is segregation at source. Now, at this moment, I won't like to comment, but all of you know that even at most of the homes, this segregation is not done. And if at all it is done at home, at the next level, a housekeeping guy or the guy who then takes it away into putting into a vehicle does not really care. So while this could be seen as an act of, someone disregarding it, but I think if you get into the basic nature of it, why it would be happening, I think you will get some more insights into what happens. So we have been also trying to address that part as a part of a solution. So, well, coming to the two kinds of waste, one is called the biodegradable waste and the other non-biodegradable. Now, these are all very technical terms, but we would call it wet and dry, which is, I think, easier. So the solutions which are given for the biodegradable waste is composting, which all of you would have heard. And the newer thing, which is biogas, some of you would know biogas, but the word CNG has now come, which is compressed natural gas, which is the bio-compressed gas. So that is also coming. And so compost is supposed to be going into, farmers' fields. These are very nice statements put, but I'm not sure any reaches them. And then bio-CNG is just starting. So I don't think so there's anything to, shout too much today. Now, coming to the non-biodegradable waste, the word which all of us keep on hearing is the word recycle. So resource recovery. We are trying to recycle plastic. People say, I recycle metal, recycle glass bottle. So that recycling is not only change of hands, it goes from one to the other. The rag picker community is actually thriving on this because they get, at the end of the day, some money out of it. But it then has to get into an ecosystem of recyclers where this product or rather finally undergoes those changes and gets into a basic material which goes back into the cycle of making a product again. So it has to go into the industry. But the challenge is the non-recyclable, where a good amount of material, which seemingly is recycled but doesn't get recycled also, because there has to be an ecosystem which should be existing. So same things like paper, cardboard, to like say then disposables, a lot of textiles, and a lot of what typically is called a single-use plastic, packaging, all that is part of this. So people use the word, you might have someone saying that, hey, road construction mein use ho raha hai, but I mean, if all this were so popular, then why, we are still stuck up with so much waste every day? So obviously these solutions are more on paper and trying to create visibility rather than actually addressing the problem. The other word you would use the word is seen is RDF. So that is called a refuse derived fuel. So already it has been identified that this part is also like a fuel. And today, people are either sending it to cement plants, which are 400-500 kilometers away, or the people set up waste to energy plants like a power plant using this as a fuel. And otherwise, most often than not, it actually ends up into landfills or dumped. And then the hazardous part of the waste, which is supposed to be incinerated. So this is it. But having studied the waste, we have tried to give the classification a little differently. Not very different, but because the waste is the same. So we call it wet and dry. And the organic kitchen and market waste, which is there, is there. And there is also the garden waste which comes up, which is organic in nature, which is the leaf litter, as we call it, or the horticulture waste. Then the dry waste part is, we call them recyclable, non-recyclable, but we added the word combustible to make sure that the fuel element is captured. And then the rejects, and then the non-combustible. So when we observe the waste, we actually spend a lot of time in societies like Blue Ridge and all to understand the waste, where there is a substantial quantum coming. So glass, metal, high-grade plastic, paper, cardboard, and e-waste go into the recycling. And the non-recycles are soiled paper, cardboard, low-grade plastic, cloth, mattress, leather, shoes, and all those things. And then the rejects, which are incinerable, are diapers, napkins, and similar reject. And then the non-combustibles like soil. So the estimate which we came out was that almost 50 to 60% of weight becomes wet waste. And only about 10 to 15% of the overall volume is recyclable. And this is the big elephant here, 20 to 25%, which is what you see is causing the major issues. So what we did was also just secondary research on terms of which are the states leading in the generation. So you have Maharashtra as the top. So, you will see that population and industrialization are contributors to this. So these are the kind of numbers you will see. Maharashtra generates over 22,000 tons every day. Similarly, we did it for the city-wise generation, where you would see that Pune is definitely among the top 10. And this incidentally does not include Pimpri-Chinchwad. If you include Pimpri-Chinchwad, possibly we'll get into a higher, we'll be closer to Kolkata and go above Ahmedabad. So this is what is the generation. You can see Delhi is having about 11,000 tons per day. So a breakup of wet and dry in terms of percentages is also made. So what we did also was we studied what are the prevalent solutions for the wet waste. So like we said, composting and biogas. So composting is done at a residential level. It is done at a medium scale society level, or many of the older cities used to have very large scale plants of 100 tons and above also. Some of you might have seen. And then similarly, biogas, which is an alternative, was largely happening in the small scale. And now it has started happening in the large scale. And then people were talking of vermiculture, earthworm dalke, ye sab karna. These were all very small activities. But if these were the ways in which you could actually do your waste processing, why it has not happened? So we studied the shortcomings of the waste solutions. Composting, it happens. It's a natural process, but successful for small sizes. As soon as you go for bigger sizes, it becomes more complicated with the kind of space required, multiple handling. It's not an overnight thing. It takes 45 to 50 days, 60 days to, get into composting and keeping on trying to give aerobic nature by moving. It's almost like tilling in the garden every day, And then, of course, it's in an open area. So you have rodents, you have all kinds of animals and birds which will keep on. And it, of course, generates odor also. And there is no major economic benefit. I have heard many places I say, compost bana ke karenge kya? And most of the flats and all and the homes hardly have so much of, consumption, if at all, there. So people have been, not very much trying to adopt composting. Definitely not at the larger scale. So biogas plant, again, there were plants even in Pune, but we needed better operations. And the conditions which were required for operating in terms of technology were also not adhered. And it is considered as a high capex solution, a lot of capital. And many of these biogas plants which were tried in Pune and Bangalore and all in decentralized way became defunct. So similarly, like wet, what are the prevalent solutions in dry waste? We talked of recycling, we talked of the RDF and the waste to energy plants. So these three are there. So then you wonder that what is the rocket science? Why we are not able to do it? So similarly, the shortcomings on this technology of recycling is gross level segregation is viable, but however you get into a final level of sorting, because you got to have a pure material getting into recycling. You can't mix two types of plastics. Plastics are of 6, 7 types. And then, so it becomes a challenge. And also the quality of the waste material which is coming in, input, because of the mixing which happens, it creates a problem. Similarly, on the non-recycled RDF, no one can define what is RDF, because anything which is left behind is called RDF because everything burns. So, and there is a lot of mixed waste which happens. So there's a lot of moisture and water which actually dilutes the quality of this. And all this is done at central locations, because from your house, my society, your society, it gets accumulated and goes to places called transfer stations. And from there, it gets into a bigger track and then goes to Hadapsar all the way. So there's no consistency and there's no control. There is absolutely no control. And the calorific value is not more than this as it is stated. And moreover, it can be only in the loose form, or it is baled to make it more compact. Otherwise, it's high volume, low weight. And there's no size shape which can be used other than taking to cement plants and shedding it, because standard boilers are not able to use this as a fuel. And the other part is that cement plants are far, far away. The closest cement plant from Pune would be in Karnataka, or otherwise you go to Chandrapur, which is 800 kilometers away. So huge. Can you imagine your waste going every day 400-500 kilometers? The waste to energy plant, it's a technical subject. I would not like to put it too much, but just to share with you, it's hugely expensive compared to conventional power plants to put up a power plant using this waste. It's almost 5 times more expensive. Calorific values are inconsistent. And because this is only producing power, no waste, it is captured, unlike in Europe and other places. Here, the total efficiency of this plant is not more than 20-22%. So huge space requirements. And also it usually depends on centralized, because you need 700 tons, 800 tons, 1,000 tons to be given every day. So it means that the waste has to travel to a single location from all over the city. You can imagine the kind of crisscrossing it would be leading to. So anyway, and then the power tariff to justify this kind of cost is very high. So you pay for disposing the waste and buy electricity at higher cost. So that's why in Indian conditions, while there are plants being put up, but they are not being considered as a huge success. So, well, we need to change the outlook from waste to a resource. So MSW has a dry fraction, almost 40-50%. And of that, 60-70% is recycled, getting dumped, because all these solutions are not easy to implement. And it gets burnt in uncontrolled manner. कोई इधर ही जला देता है, कोई जाके डंप में ही जला देता है, या डंप में ही आग लग जाती है, like this. So, and then this is combustible. So instead of using the word incineration, which is a disposal word, we are trying to use it as a resource, as a fuel. That's what is happening. And because of the challenges of centralized handling, these solutions have been poor viability, and that's how the mountains get taller. So we just thought, sometimes using a better word gives a little more positive impression. When I say incineration, It is also burning, but it's primarily like no use of that burning. You are just destroying the material out by using fire as the way of the process. Whereas if you look combustion, it's like, using your vehicle, you're combusting petrol to drive you. You are combusting fuel in a boiler to give you steam, which will drive, either the processor. So combustion is a better word, which is more scientific in nature. Incineration is considered more as destructive, where combustion is more positive. So energy is generated and it can be used for purposes of heating, cooling power, or propelling something. So we feel that fuels are being used as in these equipments as combustion. And very, very people talk of emissions, and words which are used are dioxin, furans. So people have to understand that this essentially happens because of chlorine, and which are the main items in our daily, waste which has chlorine possible. And you would see plastics, treated wood, paper, cardboard, which are hardly, bleached. So normal items like our textiles, paper, don't have this. Electronic items, which are not a daily item, and it doesn't get into your daily MSW stream anyway. The other is, if how dioxin and furan, chlorine content has to be high, combustion temperature is low and incomplete, or oxygen supply is poor, and mixing of wet and the dry waste. So these are the reasons why dioxin furans could be formed. And we did a study where each of these major types of waste which we get, which has, so PVC, which is chlorinated plastic, which is essentially pipes which are used, which are not our daily item of waste. Everything else is used. And the other danger part is the mixed waste, where food waste with chlorinated packaging comes, where it became high. But when we are talking of segregated dry waste, this doesn't become a problem. So this is where we are saying that a segregated dry waste is a low risk, and whereas a mixed waste will be a high risk. So promote segregation would ensure that anyway you have a clean dry waste. So coming to a solution now, so far I have taken you through a journey of what is happening today and what have been the kind of worries people have around the waste being burned. So, well, we had a mountain of a problem, but we have come out with a molehill of a solution. Well, we have found that centralized approach is impractical and unviable, where the material is collected from our homes and societies. It goes by transport to transfer stations. Transfer stations, it goes into bigger trucks. And then you might see compactors and all, where it then ends up in a landfill or getting to a cement plant or something, which are even further away. So you have CO2 emissions coming. Little part is getting recovered. You might see people of Swachh and all who take your material are taking the big cardboards, bottles and all out at the first stage only, but the rest goes away. So the decentralized approach will unlock this, where a segregated waste can be enforced because there will be a line of sight. While you do the recycling, you can also at the same time carry out the metal recovery and the pelleting. And if you are able to bring the wet waste also, a biogas option can be done at a central location. Very, very ideal for townships. We have tried to work on this, and essentially a zero to landfill kind of approach. So we say this is what we will be talking on, unlocking the energy value of the non-recyclable. So utilization of the non-recycled. So we say no to the centralized approach and yes to the decentralized. A big change mindset in people of things. We have not been able to convince any of the corporation people. So while we are not, disheartened, I said time will tell. Slowly, we will have more of the khadki things coming up. Maybe first it will come up in smaller places where people are wanting to do these solutions, like we have done it Ozer. We are doing it in Salem now. Hopefully, we will have very soon coming up in some nearby places, and hopefully, we have done it in IIT Bombay. We are doing it at 4 or 5 locations in Gujarat. So we will hopefully be able to prevail and do that. So our solution is biogas, and of course recycle two things. But our focus is, as the innovation, what we are trying to do is convert the dry waste into pellets. So we have gone through this test of technical feasibility, economically viable, environmentally sustainable, and very, very important is socially acceptable. You might see that wherever there is a central plant coming up, the nearby communities are getting affected. And that's where not only just because of the smell and the sheer, sight of waste every day you will see, but also just imagine the whole transport keeps on coming to the same areas every day. And they are not one or two, they are tens and hundreds in numbers every day. So coming to the dry waste part, this is what we kind of did the analysis where what kind of total percentages by weight comes. So because of the density being low of other things, so you can see while by sight it might look bigger, but if you look at a textile piece or a cardboard piece, it's far heavier than a plastic sheet, so or a bag. So this is what the composition was there. And then what we did, because we were looking at combustible, the most important aspect is the calorific value which we have. So the individual calorific value of each of this we calculated: the paper, cardboard, various types of plastics, cloth, juta, chappal, all this we did. And we found that nothing is less than 3,000. And the plastic, being a petrochemical product, is more than 7,000. So this is what finally we have been able to say that, hey, look, do door to door. And from there, take it to a center where at the first stage itself, you are able to get into the processing. The unwanted material can be taken away, and then we put it into shredding, pelleting. The pellets which come out, we call them Urjwala, energy recycled, and we pack them and they are taken to a boiler which is nearby in the city itself. So this is what we are doing. So this is our solution, and you will see we are working with a company, Thermax, my old company, where we have used these pellets as a co-firing fuel along with the other solid fuel like coal and biomass being used. So this is our green solution. So this is what typically as a product we are trying to say, and we are selling it to a customer. Otherwise, in waste industry, there's no customer really. So we are defining the values of this, and you will notice that our calorific values are in the region of 4,000 plus. So, and the ash and moisture are all within control, and very, very important is they are being used in standard boilers as a co-firing. And very, very important is it is all within 5 to 50 kilometers of an urban area, because this is where the industries of, whether you call chemical, pharma, food, beverage, which use all this equipments of heating, are lying here. So this is what we do. The waste you see on the top gets into shredding and pelleting, and we get pellets here. So just to compare the calorific value of different types of waste as we see. So you'll notice that the organic waste, which is the wet waste, is around 1,000, the last but third. And whereas plastic waste is almost 8,000 plus. Paper waste is also close to 3,000 plus. So, and MSW as it is seen, which is the total quantum, is more or less on an average about 2,000, 2,200. So this is where we say, we call it Urjwala. If you are able to make the same material brought in a segregated way early as a dry waste, we are able to give high values of, and whereas RDF, which is the same material which has gone into a mixed form, because of the way it is handled, it becomes like this. So this is what we are trying to promote as a segregation chart to people, that if we need to have process segregation is very important. And then this is what we are looking at, addressing this not to a cement plant of this, but standard boilers. India sells almost 8 to 10,000 solid fuel boilers every day. So the consumption of this on a daily basis on a non-power would be more than 150,000 tons a day. And the Pune region itself would be consuming 5 to 7,000 tons per day. So the total RDF of Pune, if it is used there, it will be less than 10% of that. So we started our work in Pune with BG, the Bombay Engineering Group Training Battalion 2 in DG, in the Army. And you can see we were doing not only dry waste, but also the garden waste there. And then 2 years ago, we set up this plant at Khadki. Some of you have visited it. And with the cantonment board, we have done this. And we have been running that. So I'll just take you through a small video of those who have not been able to go there. So this is a plant. So this is where the vehicle comes. Instead of going to a transfer station and then further to dumping, the waste comes here. Right now, let's not comment on the segregation, but this is your best bet today. Even the other Poonawala Gadi of Rangers comes and dumps its waste here. And then we remove the glass, metal and stuff like that, and also the wet. And we go to the shredder here, you can see. And then a conveyor takes it. Into another hopper. From the hopper, it goes through the screw. And it goes to the pelting machine. And this is how the pellets are. And these pellets are then bagged. Weighed and then loaded into trucks and taken to from this we are taking to Chinchod itself. The Thermax boiler is operating there. And so no more rack pickers or this, they are Urja Datas. So we have branded this pellets as Urjwala, calling energy recycled. And this has gone to a boiler in Bhosri itself. And going through automatic feeding. And you can see this is the boiler, and you can see the flame also. So we worked with the R&D of Thermax to sort of prove this. And so this is where we feel all people have to come together, and stakeholder collaboration is key. And this is the comparison of how our proposed solution is far more efficient in every way. We are able to usefully recover almost 75% as an efficiency compared to 10% of a waste to energy plant and 33% of a cement plant. This is our plant which we have given to Dawn Sugar in Dawn, and now another sister company of its, Ambalika, we are giving a repeat there. We have given it to Salem now. That also got commissioned a few days back. This is the kind of area we require. Only 250 square feet area required for our equipment. Balance is handling of the waste. So this is a kind of a financial workout I can share with you. Just to share with you that this actually can give you returns. Also for, especially because of the value of the revenue we earn from the pellets, we do a buyback also. So you don't need to sustain this plant by giving more funds to run it. It will self-sufficiently run itself. So these are our solutions, wet, dry and garden waste we can do. And it is following the solid waste policy which has been laid out, which is not being adhered to so far. This is just to give you an idea of what is the solid fuel market of boilers across India, across states, and in Pune and in Maharashtra. So there is enough market for us to do. So if we do it in a place called Pune, we can possibly set up every ward. Now everyone knows there are 41 wards in India, in Pune, because of the elections, Prabhag we call it. So each Prabhag possibly can have 2 to 3 such centers, and between 80 to 100 centers if you have. I think the waste does not need to travel beyond your Prabhag. So this is something which we'll try to take it up And with support of people like you, I'm sure this is very easily possible, not only in Pune, but across cities. And there is no rocket science we are talking of here. So this is where we are slowly growing. Currently, mostly in Pune, Bombay. Now we are going to Gujarat, and now we are moving to South. And we have also site in Rudrapur and all. But we are not been very aggressive in marketing because we want to make sure that the solution works reliably. And so you can see this is happening. And incidentally, the pellets which are fired in the Thermax boiler at the factory is actually doing air conditioning, because the technology Thermax has is using heat to do cooling. So can you imagine the urban waste giving urban cooling? So, well, the impact is very high on the environmental front. I don't think so. I need to say you are eco-friendly people, so you know what it means. And very, very important, what we are trying to say is the social impact, where the community of people in waste is typically given name rag picking or waste pickers. We are converting them into a resource giver or a urja data, which is gainful employment, respectable, and very, very important, because if it happens in decentralized, there's a ownership for people also coming up. My waste, my responsibility. And organizations like you are, taking up such causes can definitely support this very well and see the results right in front. And of course, from a governance point of view, all stakeholders coming together and compliance to this. So that's it. Thank you very much.
Excellent one. Anyone has any query, they can unmute. Any questions?
I hope I have not bored you.
No. I'd like to ask question.
Yeah, please.
What is the smallest size of plant that you have made, and what is the
Okay.
biggest one that you have made? So that
Sure.
just to give idea, what
Yeah,
could be the
yeah.
range? And of course, it is scalable upward and downward, I know, but just
Correct.
to give some idea.
Well, typically what we try to do, we are not try to work on a residential. If you see the machinery of trying to shred any component requires that much power and things, because uh, uh, so while the waste can be small, but the waste is same. Like if I have a shoe, there may be one shoe or 10 shoes. So a smaller machine will not be able to have a power of doing that. So typically what we are doing is we have machines which are for about 3 to 500 kgs of waste per day, which is about 50 odd 50 60 kgs per hour capacity as a lower end. And on the higher end today, we are giving about 250 kgs an hour. So from a HP point of view, we have machines which are totally about 10 plus 10, 20 HP. At a lab scale, there are institutes who ask for smaller just for lab purpose. So we are giving 5 HP. But otherwise, 10 HP is our standard, smaller size. And higher is about 30 HP. So total 60 HP of power.
Thank you.
And just to give you the cost, because I think you should also know, the smaller machines will cost about 12 lakhs. And the bigger machines will be about 35 lakhs.
This is all inclusive?
Without the GST.
No, what I mean is all motors.
The machinery is included. Shed and all is not part of it, because we expect that people should give some. Because finally, unlike everything else, there is a responsibility of people who are generating waste, as either people or the corporation or someone. They have to do something about the waste. You can't just wish it away. So there has to be some infrastructure provided by them, because someone trying to offer a process solution of it should not be seen that now ye de diya waste, abhi aap kaam karo, isme se business banao. I think it's a very very lopsided way of trying to look at waste then. You're shunning up the responsibility because waste has been generated by you. And I keep on telling that in houses, possibly the most money is spent in a bathroom these days.
Right.
True.
करेक्ट.
I
आप
think
तो
Raghunath
देखो
Dole
ऐड
sir
देखिए
wants to
सब
ask
जगह,
some question.
बाथरूम के शावर के फॉसेट सबकी यही सब आती रहती है, कमोड्स की
Hmm.
ऐड आती रहती है, which is actually handling waste.
Yeah, Ashish ji,
I think
जी
Raghunath Dole sir wants to ask some question.
प्लीज प्लीज सर, तुम्हाला
Dole sir,
अनम्यूट करायला
unmute करा.
लागणार. प्लीज. मला हिंदी मराठी काहीच विचारा, मी इंग्लिश मध्ये बोललो कारण काय मला माझी प्रेझेंटेशन सगळी इंग्लिश मध्ये होती त्यामुळे. पण मी आय एम कम्फर्टेबल विथ एनी ऑफ दिस लँग्वेज प्लीज.
माझा आवाज येतोय का?
हा येते की रघुनाथजी.
हा हा, नमस्कार. आमची थेऊरला नर्सरी आहे.
हा हा
हा, आणि आम्ही तुमच्या थर्मॅसला, शिरवळला आणि एनर्जी हाऊसला 2 देवराया केल्यात.
असं आहे
हम्म.
का? छान छान छान. शिरवळला तर मोठी 100 एकरची फॅक्टरी आहे तिकडे.
हो हो, शिरवळला आम्ही त्याचं सगळं डेव्हलपमेंट केलं, 10 वर्ष मेंटेन केलंय.
व्हेरी गुड.
हा, तर माझा प्रश्न असा होता
हा
की आमच्या नर्सरीला आम्ही लाखो रोपं तयार करतो.
हा
आमच्या नर्सरीमध्ये आम्ही लाखो रोपं तयार करतो, सॅपलिंग.
बरोबर आहे.
आणि 2x3 इंचाची सॅपलिंगची बॅग असते, नंतर 4x5 असते.
हम्म.
आणि मी स्टेप बाय स्टेप मोठ्या बॅग मध्ये बदलत जातो. तर आमच्याकडे तो पॉलिथिन बॅगचा कचरा खूप खूप निघतो, म्हणजे ट्रिमेंडस निघतो. तो एक भाग आहे. नंबर 2, आमच्याकडं ती रोपं तयार करताना पाला पाचोळा आता जो पडतो, तो रोज एक टेम्पोभर पाला पाचोळा निघत असतो. आणि प्लास्टिक त्याच्या 25% निघत असतं सारखं.
व्हेरी गुड.
हा, तर त्याचं कसं डिस्पोजल करायचं, त्याच्यातनं काय आम्हाला
बिलकुल बिलकुल परफेक्ट आहे. आम्ही गार्डन वेस्ट पालापाचोळा करतो, पण थोडा ड्राईड असला पाहिजे. वेट कारण काय पाणी आलं तर तो बंद होणार नाही. तो ड्राईड फॉर्म मध्ये पाला आला तर पालापाचोळा आपण नक्कीच रोज तुम्ही या खडकीला बघायला. आम्ही आता एवढ्या पाला येते आमचा रोजचा, तुम्ही बघा किती होते आमचा तो. आणि प्लास्टिक दोघे मिक्स करून करू शकतात आपण.
दोन्ही.
इनफॅक्ट IIT मुंबईमध्ये प्लांट आमच्या तसंच आहे, दोघे मिक्स होतात.
बर, म्हणजे आम्हाला खडकीत पाहायला मिळेल का?
हा हा, कधीच या कधीच या. आम्ही नसलं तरी पण आमचं प्लांट चालूच असते मंडे टू सॅटर्डे.
चालेल, मला तिकडचं लोकेशन पत्ता द्या.
लोकेशन पाठवतो मी पाठवतो सर.
चालेल, थँक्यू.
आय थिंक मंदारजी हॅज रेज्ड हिज हँड. सो
धन्यवाद सर, तुम्ही छान प्रेझेंटेशन दिलं. माझा एक प्रश्न होता की आपल्या सोसायटी बल्क वेस्ट जनरेटर पॉइंट ऑफ व्ह्यू काही करता येईल का? म्हणजे आमच्या सोसायटीमधनं पिकअप करून ते तुमच्या इकडे जवळपास कुठेतरी पाठवता येईल असं.
आता ही काय ना, आमचं हे जे मॉडेल आहे आता, वी हॅव फोकस्ड ऑन क्रिएटिंग अ सोल्युशन अँड गिव्हिंग. म्हणजे त्याच्या जे पर्याय के पॅलेट बनले तो पण आम्ही घेतो. म्हणजे ऑल वी नीड टू डू इज सेट अप अ मशीन समवेअर. तुमची यदि बघा, तुम्ही कंपोस्टिंग मशीन करता ते सोसायटीमध्येच असते. आज बरेच लोक OWC पण टाकतात, माहिती आहे ना तुम्हाला, ऑर्गॅनिक वेस्ट कंपोस्टर. ते चालत नाही चालत ते मी बोलत नाही आता, बट ते आहे तो. त्यामुळे तुमची सोसायटी केवढी मोठी आहे. आय फील एनिथिंग विच इज इन एक्सेस ऑफ 500-600 हाऊसेस can comfortably have a small setup which can be done within the setup. What we are trying to work out is that in case there are smaller societies, can we have only a shredding option done so that we can pick up the shredded waste away rather than transporting the waste as it is. We can do a shredding part because then it will compact the volume to 2-3 times and we take the shredded waste away. So he सगळं सोल्युशन आपण एक्सप्लोर करू शकतो.
एक्झॅक्टली. मीन्स माझं असंच म्हणणं होतं की आपण स्मॉल लोकॅलिटीज मे बी 500 to 1000 हाऊसेस साठी एक युनिट बनवायचं की जेणेकरून तिथे असं हे करता येईल. आता
नक्कीच करता येईल. आम्ही
तुमचा आणि तो आयडियल वाटला मला की वॉर्ड वाईज एखाद 2 युनिट्स बनवायचे.
फॅन्टॅस्टिक. सो दिस इज इट. आणि दुसरं काय महत्वाचं आहे, आपण बघतो, आपण वेस्टला एक बघतो. आता स्वच्छ सगळं करीतले ना, तर आपण नुसतं आपला घरगुतीचा वेस्ट बघतो. पण पालापाचोळा इन सच बिग सोसायटी इज ऑल्सो बिगर न्यूसन्स. मी पाषाणला राहतोय. माझी ऍक्च्युली 2 बिल्डिंग सोसायटी आहे, 60 पीपल. 60 houses.
Okay.
But would you believe that I spend 60 to 80,000 to dispose my garden waste every year? कारण काय ते गाडी एक ठेवल्याला 2,500 रुपये घेत आहे तो. कारण काय तो
Okay.
घेऊन जाणार, त्याला पण डिस्पोज करणार, कुठेतरी करणार तो. दॅट ऑल्सो ही हॅज टू फॅक्टर इन द कॉस्ट. सो कॅन यू इमॅजिन?
नॉर्मली गार्डन वेस्ट म्युन्सिपाल्टीचे लोक येऊन घेऊन जातात, गार्डन डिपार्टमेंटचे लोक.
अच्छा, ते
आणि
मेन
श्रेडर
सिटीमध्ये
लोकल श्रेडर्स त्यांच्याकडे अवेलेबल आहेत.
थोडे थोडे ठिकाणी आहे, पण आम्ही बघा आम्ही खडकीमध्ये पण ऑपरेट करतोय. आम्हाला
हा हा हा
तिकडे कोणी काय करत नाही, ते जाते फायनली डब, कारण की व्हॉल्यूम एवढं असते.
हा.
So that also for societies can be done, and the good is that there can be a revenue generated which can definitely offset his operating costs.
Okay.
Mandar, we will discuss that offline.
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Yeah, thank you very much for your presentation. And
My pleasure, sir. My pleasure.
Yeah. Anyone? Any other?
आता तुम्हाला मी सांगायचं, आम्हाला भरेमध्ये मुलशीमध्ये पण एक विलेजनी आमचं मटेरियल घेतलं आहे, लहान साईजचा 10 HP चा. आणि ॲम्युनिशन फॅक्टरीमध्ये खडकीमध्ये त्यांनी पण फॉर देअर फॅक्टरी पाला पोचवला, अँड लिटल बिट ऑफ ड्राय वेस्ट दे हॅव टेकन. अँड नाव ऑर्डिनन्स फॅक्टरी इन देव रोड ऑल्सो हॅज टेकन.
Good. Yeah.
So what you say can
Yeah.
be done for a society level also. Definitely over 500 houses worth seeing. Anything bigger, no question about it.
Right. Rameshji, so in case no questions are there, so you can proceed for vote of thanks.
Thank you so much. Sorry for maybe extending your time a bit.
Sorry. No problem. We
It's
also
all right.
started a bit late. So thank you, President. So actually this session was very, very good. We saw lots of things, how it comes to waste, and then what is recyclable, what is not recyclable. We saw all that. And Ashish Vaishnav sir took us through the analysis, with the help of the data, that how much is the recyclable, how much is not recyclable, how much is recyclable but not recycled. So that is also very crucial and critical. Then we talked about organic waste and non-organic waste, and then in small scale how composting is useful. But for the organic waste, how on the small scale composting is useful, but at large scale it doesn't make that much sense. Then we talked about a little bit of biogas and then recycling and needs. Whenever we talk about recycling, then we have to need proper sorting, because consistency of waste is never going to be there. So that becomes a really good challenge, and I'm happy to see that Ashish sir has largely tackled this problem, if not fully, to a large extent. And then we talked about waste to energy, and then talked about pellets, which are energy source, and these are called as Urjwala. Very nice name given, Urja and Ujjwala, combination of these two, fantastic. I'm happy to note that this waste, fuel waste, can be used for air conditioning. That is really, really very, very interesting. And then we talked about what plants they have made. The smallest one is about 50 kg per hour, and the biggest one that they have made is 250 kg per hour. And of course, these are upward and downward scalable projects. Just to give some rough idea, it costs about 12 lakhs to 35 lakhs cost, smallest one, and this thing. Of course, we have to note that this is a cost of the machinery, and other infrastructure like shade, land, this will be in addition. So thank you very much, Ashish Vaishnav sir, you have taken us through a very, very good session. And as Mandrupkar sir had told earlier, we are a Lions Club with Eco Friends. Our name is Eco Friends, and we very much care for environment, all our members. And this is very good option that we have found. So thank you very much. I also would
Yeah,
like
Vaishnav ji.
Thank you so much. I think the pleasure was entirely mine, and it was an honor for me to be with so many lions and lionesses.
thank you.
So, and I can see the passion with which you people are working, and I keep on telling that as a society, I think we all, while in whichever role, but we are also generators of waste, and I think it is high time we put, because whatever we say, Swachh Mission and all, I think you all know, they are more eye washes and visibility, media content rather than actual content. And I'm sure the new set of corporators which have come, I don't know whether they are
Hope so.
old wine, new bottle, or I'm sure many of you would have a connect with them. It will be very interesting, because if you ask me today, while we talk of traffic, roads and all are one issue, but the daily waste part and what the city suffers, we all feel proud of Indore now, where Indore was possibly worse than us, but we got stuck as Pune. So I think it will be very interesting. Even other Punawala's Gadi picks up the waste from the roads, but you saw it actually ultimately dumps it into the transfer station only. So the end result is still the same.
So at least we have to make some beginning from the source.
Absolutely right, sir. And we'll be most happy.
At least at the source, something.
Correct. So sometimes, like I say, I love to say this, that हम लोग बड़ी टेक्नोलॉजी रॉकेट साइंस देखने जाते हैं, तो जहां काम आए सुई वहां क्या करे तलवार.
सही बात है.
बराबर.
Correct.
So
thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Good night.
And also I would like to
And also-
thank
Dhananjay.
Dhananjay, because he organized this Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.